Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's just get this over with, shall we? I honestly cannot remember the last time I was this disappointed and outraged at how a VR game has launched. This literally actually blows my mind. So you may be wondering what VR game I am talking about. And I am talking about this goddamn game called Solaris. So what is Solaris? Well, according to Solaris itself, it considers itself as the online multiplayer VR esports of the future. It is a 4v4 shooter focused on competitive intensity. Let me just stop right there. Of the future is probably the biggest lie you could ever say about this game. The only thing futuristic about this game is the style and the environment. Everything else is just primitive VR technology. The intro screen, primitive. The hand tracking, non-existent. VR intuitive controls, a freaking joke. Oh, you know, control of your own arm? Good luck, bud! This game would have been acceptable had it been released in like 2017, 2018 on PlayStation only. But this is 2020. The Oculus Quest 2 is here, and we have a game that doesn't utilize VR controls at all. Not even hand tracking at that. It has the audacity to call itself esports and futuristic. So let me just tell you what I would have expected from a VR game that costs $25 and calls itself VR esports of the future. For starters, full, responsive, accurate, handed finger tracking. Most VR games that are designed for Oculus headsets and controllers utilize the full finger tracking capability of the controller. This includes the basic hand gestures such as pointing fingers, fist, thumbs up, and the dynamic open and closed hands. Some games will only be able to get a few of these gestures down, which is fine. What doesn't fly by me is when there is zero finger tracking capability at all. Like, what is the point of even being at the screen? Not only is there zero hand tracking here, but for some ungodly reason you can't bring your hands down below your chest, since apparently everyone is 2'1" and the ground lines up at your f***ing hips. Okay. Maybe I'm being a little too picky about the hand tracking capabilities of this game. Now let's look at the actual gameplay. And a little foreshadowing, it doesn't get any better. Let's go. So to start loading into a game, you need to put on this helmet, which then prompts you with a little HUD as a loading screen. I will admit, this is probably the coolest part of the game. It reminds me of like playing Halo with like the HUD of a Spartan helmet. But don't you think it's pretty bad when the coolest part of a game is the f***ing loading screen? When you're finally loaded into the game, you have to stand there and wait for the game to reach 8 players. It doesn't matter how long you are waiting there. If there is only 6 or 7 players, the game will not start. You can sit there for 5 to 10 minutes and the game won't start until there is exactly 8 players. So here's some things you can do in the meantime for the game to start. Number 1, you can look around the map and look at your teammates and realize that their character models refresh like a freaking slideshow. Number 2, you can look at your limp arm and watch your arm model just constantly phase through itself. Real immersive, ain't it? Number 3, you can contemplate that you literally just spent $25 of your hard-earned money on this VR garbage that holds itself so high like it's the freaking Rainbow Six of VR. It ain't. Once you finally get 8 players and the game can start, I would say this is where the fun begins. Fun fact, it doesn't. Say goodbye to your joysticks, because every time you're sprinting and you decide to turn, it cancels your sprint. So you're basically just going around just smashing your joystick into oblivion. Oh yeah, and also, that's a thing. This next thing isn't a huge deal, but I'm used to always having my head be the direction of my movement. However, in this game, your hand is permanently set to be your direction of movement, and that's just kind of wonky to me. I also really hate the fact that the game shows you exactly where you're going to shoot. That literally defeats the whole purpose of it being a VR shooter. When you're playing a VR shooter, you're supposed to, use your iron sights or your scopes or even just shoulder fire. That's one of the reasons we have VR shooters in the first place, so you don't need crosshairs. That's just the magic of just shooting in virtual reality. I've never seen a game do this before. Also, this game is so serious about its shooting mechanics that apparently you don't even need a gun to shoot your opponents with.
When I was at home, and he was like, no.
So after playing a few matches, I realized something pretty important. The time to kill is all over the fucking place. So you have this starter pistol that takes around 2 to 3 seconds to kill someone. Then you have this rifle that is automatic that takes about 1 second to just mow someone down. That's a little OP. Not to mention there's like only 4 guns in the game, so it's pretty easy to get your hands on this gun and just obliterate everyone or be obliterated. There's also these power-ups to help boost up your health. So if you manage to get your hands on a rifle and a health boost, you're basically immortal. The gameplay is just straight up broken, so good luck trying to take it seriously. Also, what the fuck is the point of sliding? So, no surprise here, you can slide by just simply pressing a button. Again, great use of VR controls. When you slide, you can't shoot or do anything. It's basically just ducking while moving, and that's not the point of sliding. I've played VR games where you can slide, and the point is to slide around corners, having a vertical advantage and taking out your opponents. But all it does in this game is just makes you more vulnerable. So let's get constructive here. What could they do to make this game better? For starters, have full hand and arm tracking, please. 2, have an option to crouch for sliding. I get it, sometimes just pressing a button is easier for people, knees aren't working, I don't know what your situation is. But still, in Contractors VR, for example, all you have to do is take a knee while you are sprinting and you are sliding. You can still shoot, move around, it's perfect. Number 3, remove the damn crosshair. There's enough bullet tracking in this game to easily identify where you are shooting, and a lot of shooters with good bullet tracking don't even need to use iron sights. You can just hip fire wherever you want and you know where you're shooting. Number 4, fix the goddamn sprinting. Onward and Contractors have the sprinting mechanic to where you can sprint when your weapon is lowered down. The second you raise up your weapon, the sprinting is cancelled. This makes sense because the only time you would raise up your weapon from sprinting is to either scan a corner or shoot at an enemy. Finally, add a reloading or a cooldown mechanic. It's way too easy to just spam your weapon with no consequence. Even a fast-paced shooter such as Hyperdash has it to where all you need to do is just press one button and wait a second and then your gun is reloaded. Speaking of Hyperdash, holy shit! Hyperdash does exactly what Solaris is trying to do, just a million times better. Hyperdash is a futuristic competitive shooter that is fast-paced and utilizes the powers and weapons just like in Solaris. I am so hyped for Hyperdash to be officially released on the Oculus Quest store after playing this garbage. Guys, Solaris isn't the real esports, it's going to be Hyperdash. I cringe at the thought of someone going to a friend's house and trying Solaris as their first VR impression. It's just not right. I literally do not know how this game was greenlit by Oculus. It's just beyond my comprehension. Honestly, that's really all I have for this game. Yeah, don't buy Solaris, it's an insult to virtual reality, and we are still waiting for that perfect fast-paced competitive VR game to come around. Hyperdash. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all around. Take care, everyone.